What's going on, everybody? How's it hanging? How's it happening? You know who it is. This is Kevin from the Chord Progression podcast, brought to you by My Song A Day Rock 2000 A. It's episode number 53. It is Tuesday, January 28th. And, well, I do have quite the amount to talk about today. So, again, you're getting another solo one from Kevin, who feels invincible. That's kind of a precursor. Yeah, I'm making a total 90s reference there from the movie GoldenEye 007. Because, well, yeah, if you guys ever saw the movie, you have Boris in there, one of the Russian hackers. Like, every time he did something good, he's like, yes, I'm invincible. So that's kind of why I'm titling the episode that. But there's a purpose behind it. Purpose? Whatever. So before we jump into the whole entire episode, let me go through my shameless plugs. So, of course, the shameless plug section on the podcast would be if we had any sort of advertising, which, of course, right now we've got none. So, of course, just going to plug our own stuff. So, if you look at this link of the description for the podcast, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. TikTok, fun stuff. Instagram is our biggest platform to date because we post 30-second clips of the Song of the Day selection every single day, plus always another post throughout the day, whether it's a question. We do our IGTV, vlogs basically every single Tuesday night, so you guys can check those out and get a behind the scenes look at what's going on here at My Song A Day Rock 2000 A, and our Instagram live streams every single Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Central Time, because, well, I'm in the Central Time Zone. Hello, Wisconsin! Twitter. On Twitter, you can also find these Song of the Day selections and some posts as well. And that's where you can really talk to us as well. Well, you can talk to Instagram too. Then Facebook, anytime anything gets released, whether it's a Song of the Day selection, the podcast episodes, the YouTube videos, anything about it, you'll be notified on Facebook. So go follow all those platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can watch the video for this Chord Progression podcast if you're not already doing so. You can watch our album reviews, which we go, a little more composite into, but we still have a lot of fun doing those. Also, we will do things like, my personal top 10s, the year-end awards kind of stuff. There's a lot of stuff on our YouTube channel, so go subscribe to that link in the description below. This is the Chord Progression podcast, as you guys know, and whoa, did you see that crazy light thing that just happened? Whoa, freaky. Okay, but for the Chord Progression podcast, you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and on YouTube as well, but you can actually watch the video on YouTube as well because, well, then you'd see some of the funky stuff I've got going on right over in this part of the screen if you're looking at YouTube. And then there's our Amazon Skill, where you can listen to the whole Song of the Day selection, not just that 30-second preview every single day. Again, this whole entire project, this is a great way to rediscover old bands that you forgot about. Discover new bands that you absolutely love. Discover new music they absolutely love, and get a great taste in rock music and just start your journey into rock and metal through us. And then on Saturdays, we always do small band Saturdays. So there's a new band every single Saturday that's trying to make it big, that we're trying to help promote, and well, you can listen to them every single Saturday. So links for that stuff in the description below. But now let's go on to the meat and potatoes of the show. So last 2 weeks on the show, I've gone deep dive into album reviews, and yes, I will go deep dive into one, but first, I went to my first concert of the year in 2020 on Friday night. So that's actually kind of a fun story. So this is the story of another Crazy Kevin concert story. Now, I got to get a jingle for it. It's like, another Crazy Kevin concert story. Blah. Maybe we can get a jingle made like that. I don't know. I'm not sure if I have time. I mean, I probably could do something like that. But, of course, there's going to be a lot of other people that are really well-versed into this music stuff that could make me a much better jingle than I possibly could. So, this is the scenario for you guys. It's a Friday night, January 24th, and it's about 5:15 in the evening. Now, the concert I'm going to see Skillet. Yes, I'm going to see Skillet for the third time ever, and they're my first concert for 2020. It was also going to be their first show of 2020, and they're playing it after a hockey game. Now, that's of paramount importance, because So here in Milwaukee, we have a hockey team in the AHL, not the National Hockey League. This is the AHL, the American Hockey League, which is like one step below the NHL. So it's the minor league affiliate. It's like AAA hockey if you're, going to compare it to baseball. And here we have the Milwaukee Admirals. Now, the Admirals, they have been notorious since, God, I don't even remember when, for bringing in bands to play post-game concerts for the people. And the games always start at 7 a.m. and the concerts usually start around 10:15. And when I was younger, I went to go see bands like Styx and Foreigner perform. And I've had my parents go see bands like REO Speedwagon. And I think Dan and Shay, my dad actually liked Dan and Shay, but everyone's like, no, let's leave. My dad's like, oh, I'm vibing to it kind of thing, which is kind of weird for my dad, honestly. Mostly because him and I have a rather similar musical taste where his is more, that hard rock and like hair metal from the 80s, and mine's like that hard rock, punk rock, and metalcore of today. So that's kind of where we're looking at that. But they've had bands like, the Dropkick Murphys, which I completely miss, and I kind of wish I would have because they started a mosh pit on the ice. Unfortunately, I missed that stuff. But so I'm going to see Skillet, and I'm going with a bunch of friends. However, I'm meeting everyone down at the arena. So my buddy ends up sending me and two of our friends tickets to be scanned in on our phone to get into the game. Now, of course, I get down there. It's all like wet and slushy and it's snowing. It's just a horrible mess. I park my car like 2 inches away from another car because maybe that close, because I was so close to the pole where it said no more parking beyond this. I'm like, I gotta just get on the inside so I don't get a ticket. Truth be told, didn't get a ticket. So, woo. Okay, so keep on going. I gotta go to a bar, grab myself a couple, 2-3 beers there, and then I'm ready to walk in right before the game starts because, well, I want to make sure I get in, enjoy, and see Skillet because Skillet's freaking awesome. So let's keep going. I get there, I go through, the security metal detector, everything's good. Now I go up to get my ticket scanned, and for some reason, it is just not working. And of course, I'm trying to figure out why it's not working. It's on my phone. And my thought was maybe the glare coming off from the ticket scanner versus my phone, kind of that stuff was going on, that was causing the issue. So I brought it up, it might just be that. And she said, well, what you can do is you can go to the ticket service inside the concourse. So it's past, where you get your ticket scanned. So inside the concourse, talk to them about it and we'll get it all situated. So I said, okay. So I walked in. I walked towards the ticket concourse. I got to the ticket concourse, and I just kept walking past. I thought, why would I even stop there? I'm in. I am good. Let's keep this going. And I sit down. I'm looking at the ticket, look at the, where the section I'm in, the row, the seat. And that's when I realized that the ticket is for a game 2 weeks later. Yeah. My buddy sent me the wrong tickets. And I said something dude, you sent us the wrong tickets, because there were a couple of people in this group chat that were going to use those tickets. They're like, well, Kevin, come down to Will Call. I'm like, nope, don't need to. I'm already in. They're like, wait, what? I said, yeah, basically I kind of snuck in plain sight. And I'm like, okay, this is fun. This is hilarious. Granted, though, my buddy had gotten a bunch of tickets for us. I'd already Venmo'd him the money for the tickets, so I wasn't going to be oh, give me my money back because I got in for free kind of thing. Hell no. I paid for the ticket. I paid to get in, and, I'm not going to, I was supposed to use that ticket anyway, so I'm not going to be that kind of guy where it's oh, no, give me my money back. That's just freaking stupid. That is just one of the dumbest things you could possibly do, especially to a friend. For a guy I've known since we were 3 years old. I mean, why would you do that? Just as asinine. Asinine. So I finally find my friends. We sit down, we're watching the Admirals, and I gotta tell you, this game was an absolute fun game to be at. So in the first period alone, I mean, there was probably one of the best hockey fights I have ever seen live. Because what ended up happening was the Admirals were playing the Rockford Ice Hogs. So, of course, Rockford, Illinois, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. No, it's not that far of a drive or anything. But all of a sudden, these guys are starting to beat the crap out of each other. Clearly, our Milwaukee Admirals forward was winning until the refs had to pull him off. And the reason the refs had to pull him off is because he literally threw him over the goal. So the goal came toppling down because the guy threw him over and they just kept pummeling on him. I swear to God, this was like Conor McGregor on Cowboy Cerrone right here. Everyone was going nuts. The refs finally pulled him off. Our forward got kicked out of the game, but as he was going out, he was clapping his hands kind of. If you ever seen the movie Goon when Ross Ray wins a fight, how he does like the like kind of like the like easy as pie, job well done kind of thing with his hands. I mean, this one was vivid, and then he just like was pumping up the crowd, spun his helmet in the middle of the ice, and got sent to the locker room. He was done for the day. The Admirals really didn't need that pump up though at that point. I think they were up 2-1 at that point. Now this is like early in the first, or maybe it was tied 1-1. End of the game, Admirals ended up winning 7-4. And then all of a sudden, we were getting ready for Skillet. I've got a friend. Well, I've got a friend who works for the Admirals. Now, I was there with like my friend that got me a ticket, who I've known since he was 3. He's got a twin brother, known him since he was 3. My best friend and my roommate were there. I've known him since we were born. This other guy that was working for the Admirals, I've known him since I was like 4. And all of us have known each other since we were 4 years old as a collective. So, I mean, there was a much bigger group, but it was just the 4 of us. I had messaged this guy earlier about getting us on the ice for the show. It's like, because they don't have you standing on the ice. So they have you standing on carpets. So it's like, insurance liability, that kind of stuff. But you're standing on carpets. And I wanted to get down there because, I always get the best content from the front. And that's where I want to be shows because you get the most energy from there. Otherwise, where our seats were behind the stage. So it's like, of course, we'd have to move. And I was waiting to get a message from my buddy saying, come by us. Like, I got you covered. Don't worry. As the game ended, they were preparing for the concert. There was a massive scramble on the entertainment side for the Milwaukee Admirals where my buddy had to make sure that he was doing his job and making sure everything was all shipshape. And I will not, and I repeat, I will not condemn him for that. I will actually commend him for that because he's doing a job. That's his livelihood. And if, we're asking him for a favor, and it's up to him if he can pull through. If he's not able to pull through, totally fine. Whatever. It happens. I get it. Especially if he's working. It's something. It's like, if it can't happen, hey man, at least you tried kind of thing. Cause he messaged me earlier saying I could probably get you on the ice. So I'm watching and we're on the side of the stage and all of a sudden, here come the lights. They go black. And Skillet starts out pretty much every single show with Feel Invincible now. So they had the kind of setup. Where I was positioned at that time on the stage, I was on the left side of it, right parallel with it. So if you watch the first 2 videos I put out on our Instagram page with Feel Invincible and Not Gonna Die, I end up getting just basically a side view of Jen Ledger going ham on the drums. That's pretty much what I got. And I was okay with it because, again, normally I'm in the front and I always get, you get like good look at like whoever the lead singers, the guitarist, everybody. You don't get that good look at the drummer because they're always blocked by the whole entire kit, so you can't really see what they're doing. I mean, even Neil Peart, when I saw Rush back in 2013, we were kind of closer to this, we kind of more towards the side of the stage. It was hard to see him do, godlike things with the drum kit because, shoot, the drum kit was so large you couldn't see what was going on there from where I was sitting. We were too close and not narrow enough up to the front. So I got a good amount, like 2 videos of Jen Ledger just going ham on the drums, and what I gotta say is Jen Ledger is one of my favorite drummers to watch perform, and the reason behind it is how she performs is kind of the antithesis of Brandon Barnes for Rise Against, but both work incredibly well, and let me explain why. So when I'm watching Brandon Barnes perform with Rise Against, his body language is very, very calm. His language and his expressions, he doesn't move a lot. It doesn't look like, he's rocking out hard or really forcing it or trying hard. It looks so incredibly smooth. And for how fast some of the stuff that Rise Against us, how he drums, it just looks so smooth coming out of Brandon. Versus when I'm watching Skillet with Jen Ledger, when she's on the drum kit, she looks like she's having the absolute time of her life, just rocking out as hard as she possibly can. You're seeing the hair fly back and forth. She's hitting everything with a ferociousness that is insane to watch live. It was fun. And I was at that point, I'm like, you know what? This is all right. I don't normally get to see the side of the stage for the show. I'd rather be down the floor, but you know what? I'll take what I can get. It's honestly no big deal. It happens. I get it. Then that's when my buddy showed up. Stopped by. He said, "Hey guys, how you doing?" I'm like, "Oh man, what's up?" He asked me, he's like, "Yeah, it's gonna be tough getting you on the ice." And I said, "How many people do you have?" I'm like, "Right now, 8." He's like, "Oh shoot." He's like, "Yeah, it's gonna be real tough." And then there are 2 ladies in front. It's like, "Shh, we're trying to watch this, we're trying to listen to the music, and we're like, it's a concert. They play loud. If we want to have a conversation, it's gonna be loud. Plus, we're trying to figure out something here. And because he was, told me, he was like, I was gonna be able to get you down there, but he told me why all the confusion was happening. And now this is something that just speaks volumes to the crowd that was at that show that night. So when it comes to getting on the ice at an Admirals game before a post-game concert, they always sell 2 different types of on-ice passes. The first is the general where you go on the ice, and then the carpet area, you have a good time. But then there's like a priority one where they kind of block off a little bit more closer to the front. Very similar to how Rock USA does it. That's a precursor for something. And so you get to be closer to the front of the stage. So because they only gave like 75 or 80 of the premium ones, and those sold out real quick. But then as they were going and selling on ice passes for the standard one, they ran out really quickly, to the point where, due to the amount of demand from the Skillet fans to get on the ice for that, they started just writing up passes to let people on. And even my buddy told me, he's like, we're not supposed to have that many people on the ice, but the demand was so high, like we had to do it. And he's like, that's kind of why, we had the trouble, and that's why we was having trouble trying to get you guys on the ice. To which I looked at and said, dude, you're dealing with a guy that lives econ, lives for this stuff, lives for efficiency, lives for, trying to figure out exactly how to do this stuff, and loves trying to figure out this problem. I'm like, I totally understand. You had a huge demand of Skillet fans trying to get on the ice close to the show. It was gonna happen. And I thought they did the right thing by, letting more people on the ice, just because you got the huge carpeted area. It's gonna work out just fine. So we're watching like 1 or 2 more songs, and all of a sudden, here comes my buddy run down the stairs, and he's like, we're giving this a shot. Let's go. So I got up, and my best friend got up. And we're signaling everybody else to come with, but only one of the sets of twins comes. And so this is the 3 out of the 5 guys that were there that all have known each other since we were 5 years old or 4 years old. 4 of us were there total. And like going down there, because it was me, my roommate, and then one of the twins that I've known since I was like 3 or 4 years old. And we walked down to the ice, and it was like, now this is awesome. And my buddy, or the twins, he said, hey, can you go get my twin brother, because he really likes Skillet, and I think he just missed what was going on. And of course, my buddy said, yeah, I'll go do that. And so we're watching the show, and now I'm finally down on the ice. I'm rocking out. I'm having a good time. So if you see the last 2 videos that I have on our Instagram page, I mean, if you're watching the YouTube video, you're going to see him pulled up on the side anyway. But if you see what's going on, I've got a much better angle on it, and I've got a much better quality video on it. And I'm in my happy, happy, happy place, because the place was just honestly packed. They really packed it in. Well, I was expecting that too, because when I've heard from other stories, there have been bands that have really packed in those post-Admirals games concerts. Skillet is now on that list. The 2 times I had the Dropkick Murphys there was on that list. My dad will always tell me, one of the only sellouts, and now this is when the Admirals are playing at the Bradley Center. So this is where the Bucks used to play. And this arena held like 14,000 people. The Admirals, an AHL team, sold out the arena for the sole purpose of the post-game concert. And it was the Village People. Now, all of us rock and metalheads, we kind of have a little bit more of a soft spot for the Village People now, due to Riot Fest 2019, when we did the Wall of Death during the YMCA. Well, unfortunately, I had to miss it because I only went Saturday because, well, I was fine only going Saturday because Rise Against! But they literally sold out the entire arena, which is absolutely insane. Like, how do you pull that shit off? That's great. But Skillet, they had a huge crowd for them. They let so many more people onto the ice. The crowd that stayed was a lot larger than they had anticipated. And the show, like, it was somewhere I love seeing their first show of the year, because they didn't really try anything new, but it was like, okay, let's see kind of where we're rusty and see where we need to really pull anything out. And I gotta tell you, Skillet taking a month off and then coming back and just, playing a show like that, did they miss a beat? Hell no, they didn't miss a beat. They pretty much hit everything. It's like, they basically picked up where they left off. So we'll see what happens later down the line as they continue. And I was talking with, because my buddy that works there, he's got there's other people that work there that we know. And we were talking to them. They're like, yeah, we were surprised at how many people actually stayed, how many people were trying to get on the ice. I said, it's Skillet. It's going to happen. The thing with Skillet is, especially when it comes to a rock band, when I think about them, they have a diverse group of fans when it comes to the age range of their fans. Because now I've seen Skillet 3 times. I've seen them at a concert hall, at Summerfest, so in a festival setting, and in kind of like an arena setting in a weird way. So I've seen them in 3 different kinds of settings, and I think the most this was the most diverse crowd in terms of age for sure, because again, it's a hockey game, it's a sporting event, so you're getting a lot of older people that are going to be there. You're getting a lot of younger kids that are going to be there, and you're getting a lot of people on the ice that are really enjoying the music. You're getting a lot of teens, people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s. So people that are kind of if they were at the rave here in Milwaukee, would be there. And when they were at the rave here last year, I mean, I went to that show, and that's the show, you guys, I have the infamous losing my shoes and then getting my shoes back story. Well, I think it's not infamous. It's famous. It's kind of famous, well, in my realm now. But it was something where it's kind of got to expect that, too, because of how vast of a group they have. Now, when bands like, REO Speedwagon show up, they're not going to be nearly expecting that kind of a crowd to neither be on the ice nor stick around, because you're dealing with a band that has a base with a lot of older people, to the point where they're maybe not want to come out because it's going to be after a game, it's going to be late. Not only that, but getting them on the ice, it's going to be tough to try and match what Skillet did this year. I was talking to my friend too. He said, yeah, I think Skillet's going to be like the top concert in terms of energy, people, and just the overall craziness over the course of the year. And I think he's going to be right, because taking a look at some of the others, it's a lot of older bands, a lot of country artists. The country artists might actually get the size, but not the energy. It's like Skillet's basically taking the energy and the enthusiasm and the craziness. But those country concerts, because they know what they're doing when it comes around there. Skillet, I don't think they were necessarily fully prepared for how many fans actually wanted to go on the ice, but I am so glad I got on the ice. I got to tell you, I think I said thank you, my friend, like 3 or 4 times, because this is something where, he helped us, or he helped not only my friends, but helped me get on the ice where I wanted to be for the show, and he didn't have to do that, and he didn't think it was going to be able to happen, but he made it happen. It worked, and I had to say thank you for it, because, well, why wouldn't you say thank you for it? You have to. And I'm truly thankful for it. So, one last thing with Skillet was, so I was concerned. It was like, okay, was this going to be their only show of the year? Because it's like, well, I don't want this to be their only show of the year in Wisconsin, because I actually really like seeing Skillet, just the energy of the show, and it's something where it's always consistent. To the point where it's gonna be high energy, it's gonna be fun, and it's gonna be rather uplifting, to the point where it's like you're not gonna want to you're not gonna leave disappointed. We'll put it that way. I know they're playing in Wisconsin at Life Fest this year, because they're playing on like the Thursday there. I'm going the Friday to, meet the girls at GFM for the first time and see them play. So, hell yeah. That's a little precursor to something too. Foreshadowing. And then it was announced during the game. Now it's out there though, so you guys can go check it out. But if you're in the state of Wisconsin, if you're in the Milwaukee area and you want to go see Skillet again, they are headlining the first night of the Wisconsin State Fair in August of 2020, with their opener being, I forgot, they got 2 openers. I forgot who the one going on right before Skillet is, but the overall opener is Ledger. So it's Jen Ledger's solo project, which I gotta say, I absolutely really want to go see, because I actually really do like the kind of like side project that Skill works on with Fight the Fury, which I freaking missed because I had to go to the freaking gym. Yeah, look at me. I still have to go see Unreal Skill and Breaking Benjamin though, so I was still happy about that. But then I love the support they have for these bands too. Like for their, we got our main band, but here's your side project, and we're gonna support you both. So we're gonna help you grow both. So I absolutely love the idea of having Ledger out there as the opening act for that. So if you're looking for Skillet in Wisconsin anytime soon, Life Fest 2020, that is in Oshkosh. I think that's the weekend right after 4th of July. And then Summer or State Fair, I think it's going to be in August for sure. I just don't know if it's August 5th or 6th off the top of my head. So there is that. And will I be going to see Skillet at State Fair? I'm just going to say this right now. That is the plan, because, well, you guys know me. I love my concerts. This is also a great concert to start out the year, too, basically because I've been to a concert for 2 months, and concerts always, make me feel like, I always would say this when I was a kid. My home is my home. My second home was always Miller Park, home of the Milwaukee Brewers. I always loved going to baseball games. Now my second home is going to a freaking concert, because I just feel so much better and, more wholesome in myself after a show, whether it's a show like Skillet or let's see some other shows that make me feel great for different reasons. Rise Against, because it's my favorite band, and just the sheer energy and amount and just the fun I have at those shows. The insanity that ensues with Motionless in White, Nice 9 Kills, love it. The amount of deep emotion and connection with the fans when I've seen Disturbed, especially with our friend Kathy. It's something truly amazing. So it's like when I go to shows, I just get this renewed sense of loving life overall, and that's kind of why I want to keep going to shows. So I will definitely try and attend Skillet's concert when they are here in August for Wisconsin State Fair. I'm still hoping for some reason they get to show up at the rave again, because again, Skillet don't live too far from where I am. So I know the county they live in, but I don't know exactly where, and I'm not gonna be those weird guys be like, I'm gonna find them. Hell no. Hell no. They deserve their privacy, and plus I don't need to be that kind of weird guy. I got more important things to worry about. But enough with that, moving on. And now, because I was talking about concerts and new music, or concerts I should say, I've got to look at the Rockfest lineup. Not the Rockfest. We talked about Rockfest last week, right? Yeah. It was Rock USA. So Rock USA is one of the rock music festivals here in Wisconsin in Oshkosh. It's the week after the Life Fest. And last year I was planning on going to it for one of the days, but it rained that day. My buddy was like, no, don't go. But I know my friends who've gone, they've got a huge bone to pick with Rock USA, because they have the general admission seats and then the premium seats and the pit seats. So it's basically like if you want a mosh pit, you have to pay extra for it. And I looked at that and I thought, you know what? That's just not really worth it, because a lot of the bands that I get to go see, like when I go see them, at a concert hall, you don't have to pay for the premium for that. Sure, I have to pay a lot more to, overall to see every single band I want. But you know what? I'm happy with going and doing that, because I just have so much more fun at those shows. But taking a look at the Rock USA lineup, if any of you guys are going on any of the days, taking a look at it right now, my day for you to go is day number 1, which is Thursday. I believe it's Thursday, July 16th. I want to say, yep, Thursday, July 16th. Taking a look at it, the headliner is Limp Bizkit. That is not, and I repeat, that is not what I'm looking at with this one. Reason being is because it's a Limp Bizkit. I mean, it's kind of fun to be like, cool, I'm going to see Limp Bizkit once. But if I'm really looking at it, it's the supporting cast under them. And then taking a look at the next 4 that have like their, when you look at a music poster, you'll see it on the side. You take a look at it and you have like different bands that they have, they aren't the top billed band, but then they have their own like artwork or their own logo on there. And then you got the rest that have their without the logo. Here are the other ones that have their logos on there. Hailstorm. Oh, hell yeah, I'd want to go see Hailstorm. Chevelle, one of my favorites. And yeah, I'd go see Chevelle. Avatar, who I haven't seen that I really want to. And Fever 333, who I was supposed to go see last year, but the show got canceled, and I really do want to go see Fever 333. Taking a look at the other bands that are down the list, take a look at this. Wage War, We Came as Romans, who I get to see this year. I See Stars, Smile Empty Soul, and Bad Omens. And I can see Bad Omens here in Milwaukee in the middle of March. And I still have yet to listen to that new Bad Omens album. I know I'm slacking on that one. I've been spending a lot more time listening to Anti-Flag's new album, and then the new album I'll be talking about in a little bit. But like that day is absolutely insane. Taking a look at the Friday date, though, you got Zombie headlining. Zombie usually headlines at least one day. I think last year for Rocky say he had to miss it because of the rain. So Manson went on before him and it worked out, but then Zombie was supposed to go on and it rained, so they got canceled. So glad to see Zombie back in. Then you got Ice Cube. Sorry, Ice Cube, I don't think you really fit here. The Pretty Reckless, I'd be interested to go see. Hell yeah. A little iffy on that if I want to go see that. Hollywood Undead, I still always want to go see Hollywood Undead. Those are the ones with their little logos on there. And then the 2 below that I'd be interested in seeing would be Attila and Escape the Fate. But I'm already seeing Escape the Fate in February, so I'm kind of like on that day. Saturday, the headliner is Slipknot. Oh no, they moved to Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's not Friday, Saturday, Sunday no more. Whoa. So yeah, Saturday is Slipknot, followed with Papa Roach, Anthrax, Steel Panther, and Of Mice and Men, which is pretty good. Not gonna lie. Then look at the other rest of supporting cast. You got Bad Wolves, All That Remains, and Memphis May Fire. So if I had to pick any of these days, Thursday is definitely one for Rock USA, I should say, Rock USA, that I think you should go to. then Saturday and Friday is kind of like the for me, I'd say wouldn't be the worst to kind of take a relaxing day. That is my take though, so I'm just gonna give you that right now. And taking a look at a couple other things. So just because I'm talking about concerts and everything, now I'm gonna say this to you guys now, kind of as a precursor or as a test. So if you watch the IGTV video from last week, my plan is some of these small bands I've seen come or to pop up that are like, they're going to be around my area. I'm not going to say I'm going to go to their shows, but I'm going to, surprise them. And there's one I'm definitely going to do in March. Well, one band you've seen us interview a couple times, Kingdom Collapse. I'm going to see them in March, on March 14th in Chicago. And they know I'm coming. Like, it's already been known. They're well aware of it. And then the other small band I'll be seeing is GFM, Go Frank Summer, at Life Fest in July because I want to go see them live. However, I've seen more small bands start popping up around here. I'm like, I'm just going to go surprise them. So we're going to give this one a shot. And the reason I'm saying the podcast right now is because I'm honestly curious to see if someone brings up to them or if they listen to it or if it's just like, I just want to see if I can put this out there and see if it gets kept as a surprise down the line. So, of course, the band I'm going to go and surprise is going to be, it's going to be the girls at GFM, Go Frankincense and Myrrh. They're playing in Green Bay, Wisconsin on March 27th, the same day in this moment Mother album is supposed to release, which we'll get to in a little bit. But I saw they're going to be coming out there, and I'm like, what if I just randomly showed up? And it's like, hey, everybody, look who's here kind of thing, kind of have some fun with it. And I thought, you know what? That's not a bad idea. And I looked at it. It's going to be in Green Bay, Wisconsin, so it's going to be about an hour and a half, 45-minute drive for me. And I even looked at like when they're supposed to be playing. It's like, yeah, they're going to be playing the later part of it. But they're doing a Q&A at like 6:30 before their set. And I'm like, you know what? It'd be kind of funny if I showed up, sat the Q&A, and, just figured out some kind of a question to ask and just ask that question. All of a sudden it's like, oh, I wonder who that is. And I stand up and I'm like, hi, how's it going? And it's just like, you're listening like, oh my God, there is no freaking way this is happening. I can't believe this. I'm like, you know what? So we're going to do it. I'm going to make it happen. I put out an IGTV video about it. So talking about, I could potentially use some help with this one. Mostly because I want to get everything captured and documented. Basically like Gary Vee style. So it's like I can make a video out of it. Surprising GFM for the first time. So we'll see how all that goes. But that's what I'm planning on. And that's what we're going to do. So yeah. So I'll know if the surprise is ruined if they found out about it if someone, a GFM fan, listened to the podcast and told them, or if the girls listen to the podcast themselves. We'll see what happens though. But it'll be fun though. I gotta find some fun stuff to do for that. Maybe bring a funky sign. It says like one sign I was thinking about doing with them. I gotta check my phone real quick on something because things are going off. Payment processed. Oh. Some fun stuff here on my phone now. Look at that. Okay, but enough with that. Let's finish up with the GFM stuff. But yeah, I'm going to think of like some funky sign. And I thought of one having my cousins make it for me where it was going to be, I take the Powder Puff Girls and I basically get them to make like the GFM girls into the Power Puff Girls and just like beat up on Mojo Jojo, who's going to be somebody. I don't know who, or like something. I don't know what, but I think it'd just be awesome because I think it'd be just great. Before I get into new music, I got one more piece of news I want to talk to you about before we get into all the new music, and it's something that I saw on everyone's favorite site, Loudwire. And no, this ain't Slipknot related. So, the Mars Volta singer's dog was poisoned and blames an actor in Scientology. Now, for me, for some reason, I've got this thing... It's fascination. Ever since, like, I've heard, like, I think it was South Park with everything when they did the Scientology episode. When I watched that, I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. So I've always been kind of, like, fascinated with everything around it and figuring out, what's going on here. And I don't know why. I was just curious. I just seen some of the crazy stuff, seeing some of the crazy stories. I'm like, okay. I watched the Alex Gibney documentary on it. I think it was called Going Clear. And I just looked at him like, whoa. was like, it was fascinating as all hell. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I'm not gonna really go deep. I don't want to go deep into like what they were all talking about in there. But I mean, if you really want like an insane documentary to watch, Alex Gibney's Going Clear is one of them to watch. And then just kind of add on to it, even my fascination listening to the Joe Rogan podcast when Leah Remini, she was I don't know, can't remember the name of the character, but she was the co-lead next to Kevin James in The King of Queens. And she was a former Scientologist, so she had to end up having a show on A&E about like, you know, debunking and exposing the whole entire thing. And also on Joe Rogan podcast, the current leader of Scientology, his dad was on Joe Rogan's podcast. And when I saw that one, I was so into listening. I'm like, I got to hear what this guy has to say. And guy ended up I don't think he actually lives too far away from where my parents live. I think, I know he lives in Wisconsin somewhere. I don't think he lives too far away from where my parents live. I have no idea, though. I'm not going to go find the guy. I'll just, let him live his life in peace kind of thing. But when I saw that the Mars Volta's Cedric Bixler Zavala, I think I said that right, he had to put down his family dog on the 22nd after she consumed rat poisoning. The singer blames Scientologists, particularly those interested in protecting actor and Scientologist Danny Masterson, because, just a quick synopsis, he's Bixler Zavala's wife, Chrissy Carnell, accused Danny Masterson of sexual abuse that occurred while they were dating in the late 90s. And this has been, and accusations have been from several other women from there. And they both had periods of involvement with the Church of Scientology in the past between Bixler Zavala and Carnell, I think I said that right, yeah. But have been vocal about their opposition to the organization in recent years. See what else is there. In August, the couple and a few of the other accusers filed a lawsuit against the actor and the church for stalking and harassing them in attempts to silence the allegations, which from that Alex Gibney documentary, I looked at them like that could potentially be very true. The folks believe the Scientology church is behind the loss of both of his dogs. He uploaded a photo on Instagram of a chunk of raw meat that had rat poison stuffed inside, saying, "This is what I've been finding in the front of my backyard. This is what Scientology does when you speak about the predators they protect." The ASPCA, the Animal Protections, later confirmed the couple that the dog had ingested flavored rat poisoning. We had to put her down today. This was a result of eating rat poison rolled up in raw meat. The second dog we've had to put down due to the harassment from private investigators and Scientology only makes us stronger. Posted a full statement on there. Not going to read the full statement, but this is something that, like, I saw it piqued my interest, and I saw Loudwire post it on their Instagram page as well, and looking at the comments, I do think that some of the comments were fair when they were skeptical because you just don't know exactly, but this is definitely kind of like suspect number one. I think that they may, because after watching that and taking a look at some of the stuff that has gone on that they've been linked to, or the church has been linked to, I'm very I'm just, I don't want to say okay, it's definitely this, but they're definitely prime suspect number one, especially if this is the second dog they've lost to this. And I'm even taking a look at the Instagram page right now of Cedric Bixler Zavala, and the other thing too is, like, it's who just throws raw meat over into someone's yard. That is definitely something where you gotta look into it. But I'm going to keep a close eye on that story overall, because I feel like that's going to be something that could potentially blow up very large. And I'm really going to take a look, keep an eye on that one, just to keep bringing guys the breaking news or something like that. But enough with that kind of stuff. Now let's go into some new music. And first new music we're going to be talking about, I got two things with new music to talk about, and then we're going to send you on your merry way. First thing is, there's a new album that came out on New Music Friday, January 24th. The album was Aurora. It was Breaking Benjamin reimagining 9 of their most popular songs, doing them like a more acoustic style. But they said reimagining, that's the key here. And then 1 new one. So, of course, you guys know, I was going to take a look at it. I was going to listen to it. You guys know, Breaking Benjamin is one of my top 10 favorite bands of all time. So, of course, I was going to listen to it. Of course, I'm going to give you my full take on it. And I'm just gonna give you my quick expectation before we go really deep dive into the song. So my early expectation was I have seen a couple of bands do something like this where they take their older songs or more popular songs and end up putting them into like a reimagined acoustic version. And there is no better example than when Rise Against put out the Ghost Note Symphonies 2 years ago. Because what happened with that one was, and this is how I put it, what they did was they took their songs, they took some of their best songs, and they completely stripped them down, changed up a lot of them, reimagined them for a more acoustic set. And I mean, completely reimagined them. But when they came out, the acoustic one and the regular version sounded like it was constructed from the same thing, but they sounded very different. However, they impacted you the exact same way, so they hit you hard. So they reimagined it and they made it completely different to hit you. So something like what Rise Against did, like take a look at a song like Faint Resemblance. I mean, that's just a hardcore punk song. It's Tim McElrath on the ukulele. Voices Off Camera is something where it's a lot, where it's hardcore punk as well, but then you get to like the Ghost of Me version, it's a piano and it's a lot calmer. You can really hear the lyrics in that one a lot more clear and better. I thought they did a fantastic job on that one. So when I took a look at that one, I'm like, this is definitely how Aurora is going to be compared to for me as the Ghost Note Symphonies, because I saw what Rise Against did. I saw how, when you say reimagined, that's what came out of it, and it was beautiful. So now let's take a look into this. So out of the 10 songs they had, 9 of them were reimagined, or 9 of them were their own songs from beforehand. 1 was new. So we're going to take a look at all of them. First is So Cold. They redid So Cold, and right away when you listen to it, it almost sounds like the original. And as I kept listening to the song, I'm like, this keeps sounding like the original more and more and more. The only difference really being the twanginess of the acoustic guitar versus the little bit more concise sound from the electric guitar in the intro. But as you keep listening to it throughout, it's literally, it just sounds like an unplugged version of the song and an acoustic version of it with really no reimagination. Take a listen to Ben's vocals on this track. It sounds like they were kind of just ripped from the original version. I will say though, this does show how consistent Ben's vocals have been over the course of the year, all these years. So that's not something that's bad. That's not something that's bad per se. There's good and bad in it, where it's fantastic to the point where you can see how consistent Ben Burnley's vocals are. But when you're talking about reimagining things, you're just going to kind of do them acoustically or unplugged. I'm a little concerned about that. The drumming is the exact same as well. There's no deviation from the original in any sense of the way. But overall, I actually did somewhat enjoy how the choked up guitar worked on the solo, because it gave it a lot more of an acoustic feel and gave it a little bit more of its identity, but it still really wasn't all that imagined. I compared again what I was talking about with Faint Resemblance, where we went from hardcore punk to something on the ukulele, and it hits you the exact same. This was something that was different. So overall, when it came to So Cold, Breaking Benjamin played this one really safe by going, more unplugged, straight acoustic on this classic. Really no reimagination. Didn't care for it. However, it does show Ben's consistency as a vocalist. Number 2 was Failure. Now, Failure is one of my favorite Breaking Benjamin songs. It featured Michael Barnes of the band Red. And this one, I thought this where the reimagination was paramount, because it was set up perfectly for it. It would have added to the overall power of the song, but this one fell completely flat. Did I say fat? Fell completely flat. Because this song, it already been about like that, had that melodramatic tone to it, because you're talking about failure, you're talking about, getting defeated. And if you play it acoustically, it doesn't change up anything with it. It just sounds like, again, that unplugged version. And you can tell that this is the case, the intro, is the way the guitar sounds, and it hits you the exact same original. There's really no deviation from it whatsoever. And changing up that song that has like a deeper overall sound as possible when it comes to the reimagination. And I said, see the Ghost Note Symphonies from Wait for me, because Rise Against pulled it off as well. But looking at Michael Barnes, his feature does work well, because it does provide the song with a less angsty vibe than you get from the original, because Michael Barnes' vocals are more optimistic in approach and less angsty and, more bogged down than Ben Burnley's are. So, because when I listen to Ben Burnley's vocals, he has that darker angst, a little bit more like depression-y vocals, where it's really, it's going to hit you hard deep in the soul. And it's going to hit you. It's going to hit you hard deep in the soul, but it's going to punch you there. When it's kind of like that more optimistic tone from Michael Barnes, it's going to be more jab, 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 jab. So overall, if it wasn't for that feature by Michael Barnes, the song would have just fell by the wayside, because it's way too similar to the original. And it fails to stand out. Now we're going to the new one, Far Away, featuring Scooter Ward of Cold. And this song is something completely new, like I said. The intro includes a piano that really gives me the feel like this song is going to be another heavy hitter, very similar to Give Me a Sign. And oh my lord, did it frickin' deliver. Because the agony of the whole song is built through the slower and more depressed instrumentals and the sharply depressed vocals from both Ben and Scooter. The use of the acoustic stylings from the band and the piano really give that song, that broken, depressed feeling, which Breaking Benjamin is always been one of those bands that I turn to in life when things are getting me down because their music helps me heal. It helps me really go through the process and really understand the emotions, whether I'm really, feeling down and depressed and really need to understand those emotions with something like Far Away, something like Give Me a Sign, something like Dear Agony. Or when I'm trying to defeat those and really kind of punch my way up, very similar to something like Red Cold River would do. But the vocal mix on this one between Ben Burnley and Scooter Ward, oh dear lord, is it beautiful. Because, you take a look with a song all about, really feeling lost. Scooter Ward provides more raspy vocals that are more that like lost feeling, that cloud or judgment. And Ben's are cleaner, but they really provide that more comfort because it's very similar to what you know from Breaking Benjamin. That mix of depressive angst they end up providing as a duet is a thing that hits hard just like Give Me a Sign does. So overall, this song could have been on Dark Before Dawn. It could have ended up on that album because I think it falls in the same realm as Give Me a Sign as well, but I think this one is even better because it has a deeper meaning and much deeper, hard-hitting sound to it overall compared to Give Me a Sign. This might be a top 10 song from Breaking Benjamin right here. So they did a great job on this one. I'm going to one of my other favorite songs from Breaking Benjamin is Angels Fall, and this was a song I was hoping to be fully reimagined. Again, very much like Failure, like a lot of these Dark Before Dawn songs, they have all the pieces there to be really reimagined. And this is the reason because with Angels Fall, it's much more melodic. The backing drums aren't nearly as hard as some of the other tracks that Breaking Benjamin has put on this album or has done before. And the great emotion we played with. And when I listened to it, it was just more of the same between So Cold and Failure up to this point. Because the intro gives you some deep cellos, which is awesome to replace the strings. I love when rock bands bring in those strings, like the violins, the cellos, everything like it. And it is nuts. And it kind of even gives you that more epic feel to it. But once you get into the first verse, it's really hard to differentiate between the original and the Aurora version because they really had a chance to reimagine the song. And again, I thought they played it way too safe and went with that unplugged style. The song is already powerful enough on its own and really hits you deep because of how it's constructed with a slower tempo and that lower tone. It gives that song more wiggle room to be reimagined to create an even slower, even more emotionally charged song. Like really pick it up. And they failed to do that because overall, the Aurora version of Angels Falls doesn't provide us with anything new as compared to the original. It's just the same. It just adds some cellos in there. But it's hard to notice outside of the intro. But I just stick with the original version of Angels Fall in this one. This one was the one that scared me the most. It was Red Cold River, and this featured Spencer Chamberlain, vocalist for Under Oath. Reason it scared me was because I love Red Cold River. I love how hard it goes, and I love just the sheer energy in the pre-chorus that Ben Burley brings when he screams, "Run." And this one falls into the same issue. And very similar issue that So Cold felt with instrumentation. Because this is one of Breaking Benjamin's hardest tracks to date. This might be one of their hardest tracks ever. But when you listen to the acoustic version, the strings are all just the same, but they're acoustic. So it's really not, it just takes away something, that raw energy and that hardness to it. However, the drumming does not change at all from the original. And it's really tough for me to wrap my head around it because it feels like the song really, really, really needs to just be unleashed, but it's not. It's not going to be. Like, just let go to the wild. And the reason why it feels like that way is because with the normal drumming pattern in Red Cold River, there's a lot of double kicks on the bass drum. So it just sounds has that insanely harder sound. Very similar you see in metalcore, a lot of it. But when you hear that acoustically and you have the double kick in there and it's just as powerful as the original, I can't wrap my head around it. I just don't understand why they did it. The vocal duet between Spencer Chamberlain and Ben Burnley is the savior of the song overall because Ben's vocals start out very much the same in the first verse as the original, and the pre-chorus is completely different because you don't get those screams, but you get one hell of a mix between Ben's lower pitch and Spencer Chamberlain's higher pitch. So it does mix well when you're bringing in Ben not going run, where it's more run, and you're just kind of something different like that. The first chorus is purely Spencer though, and that higher pitch he has is able to provide a nice tone and really sets that nice tone when mixed with the acoustic strings, whereas Ben's is more suited for the original. And throughout the rest of the song, the guys duet is, the same. It keeps that mixture between the clean sound with Ben's being deeper and Spencer's being higher, played up by the strength of the underlying instrumentation, where Ben is, with his lower voice, really plays off well with the drums going with that same style that they did. And the original is keeping it hard. And Spencer with the strings, that higher pitch, more acoustic sound, really works out well here. So overall, this one does not nearly match up to the original at all. However, it is saved with that vocal duet. And it's the contrasting pitches that really do it. Tourniquet was 6th in the song, and this is where it starts out like it's going to have that reimagination on it, because the intro guitars, they have a certain twanginess to them that overall, it literally gave me a feeling like it was like some Arabian Nights influence, and it set up this for the success that, as it went along, I'm like, this is something completely different that they're going with. When it came to reimagining, this is what I'm starting to hope for. And the song is continuing the trend here of making songs that just, end up being unplugged versions. There's not much else besides that Arabian twanginess in the guitars. But why that twanginess works is because when you compare it to the original, the guitars have their own unique sound, especially in that intro, and they give the song its full identity. The unplugged version kind of has more of that Arabian Night style version to it. So again, it opens up the song to a whole new identity overall, and you can really feel it, especially in the beginning, but as time goes on, not necessarily sure. Overall, this song, again, doesn't really stray away from that unplugged stylings. However, it's the most experimental of all the songs that aren't far away, honestly, because it reimagines that guitar in the intro, and it kind of gives a different sound while keeping the overall integrity, which is what I wanted, and which I was hoping for. We got 4 more. We got Dance with the Devil. This was featuring Mr. Adam Gontier, formerly of 3 Days Grace, but currently with Saint Sonia, but you guys already knew that. And they have done this one live before. You can take a look online. There's a live video from their Unplugged tour back in November 2017. They played this one in Minneapolis with Adam Gontier, so it's no surprise to end up on the track. The positive of this song, it's all Adam Gontier. I gotta just give it this positive, and this is all Adam Gontier, because the song continues, again, the trend of unplugged, not much reimagination to it overall. And it does give way to potential blandness, but where Adam comes in, he sings a lot more on the track than Ben does overall. Like, he takes control of the vocals on this one, and that does help the Aurora version overall. And the reason behind it is because we get a different overall feel to the song with Adam than with Ben. Well, again, the song is a very emotional one. Ben has more of those deep, depressed, and angsty vocals. They provide us with a less hard-hitting but deeper penetrating sound. So it's not going to hit you as hard right away, but it's going to just seep into you. So it's something like, I'm gonna equate it to a snake, like a boa constrictor or a python. It's, they're not going to kill you in the first, they're not going to take you down right away in the first minute. It's not going to hit you that hard. But over time, when they squeeze you, it just takes time, and it's going to get you even deeper. Yeah, that's what Ben Burnley's vocals do. Adams, on the other hand, give the song, that more like quick cry for help feel, especially in the chorus and the bridge of the song as well. And it's that quicker hitting. So it's going to hit you hard, but it's going to hit you quicker. And it's going to sting really quickly, but it's not going to last as deeply as Ben Burnley does. But I do like the contrast on that as well, because overall, again, like I said, we knew it was coming. I'm glad that Adam took the majority of the vocal duties on this one, because it gives it more reimagination feel, using that unplugged sound from the original. It still sticks out way too much, but it also helps out that Adam took the brunt of the vocals. Now, we're going to go to Never Again. Never Again is one of my favorite songs by Breaking Benjamin as well, and this is something different, because this is one that where if they would have done something reimagined here versus what they kind of did unplugged, and I thought it would have been bad. If just keeping this one to kind of that unplugged style actually worked out very well for the band. And because it starts out with a more twangy acoustic sound, it's more of an unplugged sound that, basically it's normal. But by the end of the intro, they bring in some strings like a violin that really accent the song well. And the drumming, like I was saying earlier, was so cold, especially Red Cold with the double kicks. It doesn't really stand out nearly as well because it's more toned down and there's no double kicks here, so it doesn't stick out like it's supposed to be unleashed. Ben's vocals, again, don't change much compared to the original, which actually is a plus here, because it's one of those songs where reimagining overall would have done a disservice, especially because when they choke up the acoustic guitar in the breakdown, it ends with the amplifying that chorus going into it. It's just this theme, the way it's constructed, it was perfect to not reimagine this one. So overall, I remember listening to this full blast in the car the first time I heard it. It gave me shivers. It gave me goosebumps. It was that powerful. It was perfect to just go unplugged, and with a few minor tweaks, translation worked fantastic. 2 more we got. And number 9 is I Am Torn in Two. So this is like the sequel to Red Cold River, especially if you watch the music videos. And this is another example of the band sticking up with that unplugged style rather than, going more more experimental, which really does hurt it overall. And so that's kind of how that's going. Let's see what we got else here on my list. Because when you listen to the song off of Ember and watch music again, like I said earlier, it follows suit with Red Cold River. And it suffers the same problem that Red Cold River does because nothing has changed here compared to the original except it's an unplug. And sometimes it sounds like they actually kept the bass guitar plugged in this one. So going up against Red Cold River, this one doesn't have a featured vocalist, which makes you just want to listen to the original version because it doesn't have anything, distant to distance itself. Overall, this being just a standard unplugged version of the song hinders the raw emotion of the original. And because it sounds choked up. If you want an example of a harder song that can get reimagined, still come across just as powerful, I mentioned it earlier, Voices Off Camera, Rise Against with the Ghost Note Symphonies. That's where it is. I gotta talk about this last song, and I'm gonna go into this one because I am not gonna lie, this is gonna be a long one. And the reason for it is because it is Dear Agony. And when it comes to Dear Agony, I gotta quickly close some stuff out of here though. One sec. Okay, so when it comes to Dear Agony, this one I had a massive, massive problem with. This was the one I was looking forward to the most out of all the tracks on Aurora. Reason being is because this was going to feature vocalist Lacey Sturm, formerly of Flyleaf. Now, I've talked about this before on the podcast. The first time I saw Skillet, Lacey Sturm was filling in for Jen Ledger, and she did a fantastic job. And I know that her and Ben Burley are working on a potential side project. So I'm getting really, really psyched about this and seeing how it's going to turn out. However, this is where it gets... I gotta listen to this. This is going to be great. Let's see. But, this may have been the most disappointing song overall. I was listening to it the first time, volume cranked up in the car, and I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, what are we doing out here, guys? And the reason for that was because I just didn't know what was going on. Okay, something's definitely messing up with my computer right now. One second, I just want to see if I can quickly... Oh, God, I never emptied that? Okay, if you screwed that like crack, I just had to empty the trash can because I had so many videos in there. Okay, I should be good now. But let's keep going on. So, why I was disappointed in this Dear Agony? Because, again, the song is just the same old song with no reimagination to it. The drumming doesn't change at all. Once again, the guitar work is unplugged and an acoustic version. And I kind of knew that coming in because I'm like, okay, I can kind of see that happening. However, why I was disappointed was Lacey Sturm's feature. And this has absolutely nothing, and I mean nothing, to do with her vocals and what she can bring to the table in a song like this. But it's how her vocals were used, which I couldn't stand. Now, let me explain why. When I first heard this song in my car, most of Lacey's vocals were drowned out by Ben's vocals as they consistently overlap each other. It is a lot more like Ben just doing the unplugged version of the song with Lacey's vocals accenting it, which I just couldn't stand because I was hoping where something, more of like a full duet where you can get more of Lacey's vocals isolated in there. And when I listened to the song with earbuds on, there's definitely a bit more distinction, but it doesn't change its disappointment how she was used there. There's only 2 lines in the song where Lacey sings alone, and that's compared to Dance of the Devil where Adam Gonte literally took half the song for himself. I just looked at it and thought, what are we talking about? What's going on? This makes no sense. And I just thinking, why? Why is this happening? And I thought they should have gone that route and have Lacey Sturm, be more of not necessarily, I would say more impactful vocals instead of just accenting Ben Burley's vocals, because we know what Lacey Sturm's vocals can accomplish. Had they kept this one unplugged, but let Lacey Sturm just go full force on the verses at some points and have a great mixture within the basically who sings what part in the chorus, this could have been the best song. Overall, this was one major point because using an unplugged version of the song could have worked as a reimagining had Lacey Sturm been able to stand out more on the track and sing a verse or a good chunk of the song without Ben's vocals layering over the top of it, and it's just a major missed opportunity. Overall, I'm giving this album a 5 out of 10. Very run-of-the-mill. I love Far Away. I love everything about it. Ben's vocals were some of the most consistent things ever, because if you listen to the originals versus the Aurora versions, his vocals don't sound any different. Like, it is amazing to listen to. I couldn't get enough of it. And some of the guest spots were actually saved the song from being mundane. Again, Spencer Chamberlain on Red Coat River, Adam Gontier on Dance with the Devil, and Michael Barnes on Failure. What I dislike, they said they were going to reimagine a lot of these, and a lot of them are just unplugged, in my opinion. I just couldn't stand it. Again, compared to what Rise Against did, that's what they should have gone with. The double kicks on the drums, making these songs feel like they should have been unleashed, I just couldn't stand it. It just really ruined a lot of songs, and Dear Agony was a major missed opportunity. Here is my full final thought on it before I get in my last segment, and the final thought is, after hearing how incredible the Ghost Note Symphonies by Rise Against actually turned out to be, and how good Breaking Benjamin can play acoustic set live, which I've seen, I was really hoping that they would do the same on this album as Rise Against and pull it off. Instead, Breaking Benjamin played it incredibly safe and just did acoustic unplugged versions of most of their best songs of the past, 15-ish years. While the band shined on the new track Far Away, and the vocal features from guest artists usually up the profile of the songs, the lack of reimagination and the failure to unleash on Lacey Sturm on Dear Agony end up bringing the album down. I do not think this album is bad because the songs are some of the originals, but this album is very underwhelming and somewhat disappointing from what I was expecting. So that's where I'm looking at it with Breaking Benjamin's Aurora album. Now, you'll see the full video on YouTube as well come out on Wednesday the 29th. Yeah, so that'll be out Wednesday the 29th for you guys as well. Now, I've got one more thing to go for. Kevin, you got one more thing? Yes, Kevin's got one more thing for you, and it is called In This Moment. Now, why am I talking about In This Moment? Because back in summer 2019, they had been teasing that Mother, their 7th studio album, I think, was going to come out in the summertime. Yeah, that didn't happen. Then over Halloween, they gave us these cryptic messages like the In-Between, and they had the date for Halloween. I was like, oh my god, we're getting this new song, the In-Between, on Halloween. Yeah, that didn't happen. It's been about 3 months, ladies and gents. But now, Mother has been announced. It will be coming out on March 27th. And the lead single, The In-Between, is out now. Now, I have to go and talk about it because we've been waiting so long for this. It's been pushed back, teased, all that kind of stuff. So let's talk about it. After my first couple passes through The In-Between, I'm actually split on the song overall. The song is very heavily focused, again, on what Maria Brink is doing with her vocals. And that leaves the underlying instrumentation to be minimalistic, which is something we have been seeing a lot of from In This Moment. One way to describe it is kind of like, you never seen like bands, it's like, their band, basically like Maroon 5, I'll use them as an example. When Maroon 5 started out, it was the band, and lately it's become the Adam Levine experience, which is becoming less and less popular, especially among rock fans. Now, it seems like In This Moment's kind of doing something similar where they're focusing so much more on Maria and what Maria is doing with her vocals. But it was to be expected. Not gonna lie, it was to be expected. When it comes to those vocals, though, I will say this about Maria Brink's vocals. They are fantastic. Making that long wait and the long tease and everything that happened with this release, very much 100% worth it. As I do enjoy how the verses sound more choked up. And this is very similar to the verses in their song Roots from 2017. It gives it more of a flashback feel to music, which I actually really do like. Looking at the verses again, Maria discusses a mother building her up and a father tearing her down. Again, potentially that flashback style. So that's kind of what they're talking about in there. So it's very interesting here. The pre-chorus gives us more of that standard singing from Maria, and then the chorus is full on unclean vocals, mixed with some standard singing from Maria as well. And it's actually really, really good. I really enjoy how they are clean vocals too, and they actually overlap the screams as well. So it's similar to what I was talking about with Dear Agony, where it was like Lacey Sturm was accenting it, but it was something where it was like, it's Maria doing both tracks, and it actually worked out really well here. The minimalistic instrumentation, though, is where this song splits me, and let me explain why. While, yes, it does help keep the focus on Maria as well, and just adds to her sound, they really don't leave a lot more to be desired because they just focus on it, and they don't really add to it. That's the best way to describe it. Because the minimalist approach doesn't hurt the song, but it leaves a lot more to be desired. And what I mean by that is, I think a song like Roots is the perfect view as to how bringing a little bit more to the instrumentation can create a complementary winning blend and in like the very minimal sense. Big Bad Wolf, another song where the instrumentation has more to it, and it doesn't take away from Maria overall, and it really adds more to it. So I think they really missed an opportunity on that one by focusing solely on Maria and the in-between. Looking at the meaning of the song, though, lyrics, you can really tell it's come from a personal place. Mother versus father, free spirit versus fundamental values. So there's definitely some kind of a push-pull kind of thing there. And this be a song that many people relate to because a lot of people went through that. A lot of people went through, maybe a parent potentially, building you up and another parent tearing you out, or your parents completely both tearing you out and someone else in your life, saying, you can do it. And a lot of these people, maybe they've gone out and they have done it and said, kind of like I showed you, mom and dad, kind of going all Gary Vee on it saying, I'm going to focus on the positive things in life, not the negative. Overall, I'm still splitting the song with more of a leaning towards actually it's good. Reason being because Maria's vocals are great. It's a powerful message. That minimalistic instrumentation leaves a lot more to be desired, but you know what? If you're focused on the vocals, yeah, knocks it right out of the park. But on that note, guys, that is going to be it for me. I want to thank you for listening to episode 53 of the Chord Progression podcast brought to you by My Song a Day Rock 2000 a Day. You guys know I always love having you listen to the show. Maybe next week we can have someone on the show if you want to. Also, if you're listening to the show and you want to talk about some new albums coming out in February, let's make it happen. Send us a DM on Instagram, email, however you can get in touch with us. Make sure that happens. But until next time, folks, this is Kevin from the Chord Progression podcast brought to you by My Song a Day Rock 2000 to today, ending with the ever classic See Ya.